Second day of the regional playoffs has gotten far underway. Colin Moore is far away from his camera, and it's kind of tripping me out a little bit because I'm usually used to him a little bit closer. But CSP, Buckeye, CoD, 19th ranked and the 20th ranked teams going up against each other, Colin. And in a matchup here between both of these rosters, this feels like we are finally getting to the stage of the tournament where we are starting to see Titans go up against one another. Maybe not Titans of like our top 5, top 10 teams, but regardless, it's still one of the matches where CSP has been very good within their own region, maybe a little bit different strength of schedule. But when we talk about like the top 25 ranking, as we know, the committee has been a little bit off this year with some of their placements.
Yeah, I would say I think the committee hasn't really been on point. I've given them my fair share of criticism on stream, but everybody's doing their best chances. I agree. I think we're closing in on those Titan matchups that we're excited for, especially for CSP in particular and Buckeye CoD. Both of these two teams fairly strong coming out of their own respective divisions, their own respective conferences as well, heading into these regional playoffs. And the winner of this game then goes to play Northwood. So you got some big shoes to fill after this one, guy.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough, to say the very least. Right now, though, obviously for the CSP side, things look a little bit better. Throughout most of their games, they have been very, very good. Even inside of the actual conference championship that they played up against, I believe it was SIUE, they also came out and kind of smoked them. So it was very. I don't want to say one-sided, but kind of one-sided in a lot of regards. The CSP team is very dangerous. Buckeye CoD, on the other side of things, also no stranger to tough situations and hard moments, facing long-winded portions of the season. But strength of schedule would tell you that I guess Buckeye CoD technically has the favorite here with the 13-1 record, but they're both 14-0. They're kind of both from the same spot. But regardless, technically on paper, and again, don't take it with too much seriousness, because we know what happens when we start looking at the statistics here in the CCL. Don't take it with too much depth, but they do on paper have the statistical advantage.
Yeah, I would say I think Buckeye CoD coming out of the Midwest Metro had a little bit of a stronger division to go through. You had to play Northwood, you had to play you lost maps to Ohio University, you lost maps to all kinds of different strong teams inside of your own division. So rightfully so, being the 19th in the top 25 is very fitting to this school, considering the only school you lost to is somebody like Northwood. And even still, that game itself was a very competitive one for Buckeye CoD. This is a team that a lot of people can get behind, myself being one. And I think that in the playoffs itself, you haven't really got to see Buckeye CoD too much so far. 2 forfeit wins and then a matchup win in their last one versus Dakota State, where they win 3-1. This is a team who has had a slow start to the playoffs, not their fault, but now they're getting the ball rolling.
Yeah, they absolutely are. And with the CCL playoffs coming up very, very soon, not to be confused with the regional playoffs and the CCL playoffs, a bit different. We're narrowing the teams down before the CCL playoffs. But going to the end of this, obviously we'll take a look at our map set real quick. But going through the end of this, both teams trying to make a strong push, get some good positioning for what will be a jockeying to get to the top 4 inside of the CCL to go to LAN. As can be said, Colin, really only one from each region will be able to make it to what will be the CCL LAN. So it'll be exciting for when those matches do actually happen. Oh!
I'm loving that CCL, even the regional playoffs, has just been a little bit of a shakeup. It's been a chaotic day.
Dude, the fact that you had a webcam microphone selected was hilarious.
I don't want to go listen to that again. I can only imagine.
Oh, man. All right. Well, the Hacienda Protocol guaranteed map set here for our first 3. Buckeye CoD. Just kind of going back in, looking at what they have played on thus far. They did have a match versus Dakota State where they did play a Hacienda Search and Destroy, but the Hacienda Hardpoint really hasn't been played here as of recent, at least inside of the playoffs thus far. Same thing can be said for the CSP side of things, as they have also not really touched the Hacienda Hardpoint, albeit they haven't gone to a map 4 besides one time, and that was a Vault in the Skyline in that best of 5 series that they played against Ohio University. So there has not been too much of a shakeup, I would say, for the most part, in the overall map pool. But Hacienda typically gives us a pretty good look at what we'll see from the entirety of a team, because there's two ways that this map can play out, right? And the reason I kind of looked at this map to be that tone and pace setter is because, number one, communications have to be on point from the get-go, right? You have to be able to make sure you're getting mid-map control. You have to be able to make sure that you're picking up a spawn out, because a map like Hacienda, you can actually influence the spawns a little bit easier. You can put somebody in a blocking position. You can read a split spawn.
Yeah.
You can read a spawn out from one player, an individual, but also know that other 3 players are going to be also spawning behind you. So there's many ways that goes for the communications aspects. And then, of course, on top of that, you have the ability to actually play the map a little bit slower, a little bit faster, depending on how well you're able to process that information. So again, that's why I feel this is a pace and trend setter for either of the teams here. And that's why I love it in map 1.
So I love Hacienda just in general. I think, you really hit the nail on the head there, and just saying that this is a very fundamental map. It is a very good icebreaker for a lot of teams in getting warmed up for their series. And it's something that a lot of teams are going to be feeling confident and consistent on. So go for map 1. No doubt in my mind it's going to be a banger to kick things off between Buckeye CoD and CSP Esports for this matchup. I'm only disappointed that we don't get a dealership, Corin. I want to get my hands on dealership at some point. I want to cast it. I want to see what's going on over there.
You know what? I'm glad you have the enthusiasm for it. I'm going to be on the opposite side of things there. I personally am not a huge fan of dealership, so I'm kind of glad it doesn't slip through in this best of 5. But again, for the novelty of it, I guess I could do it once or twice, something like that. But back spawn rotations for Buckeye CoD, at least being one right now. The majority of the gunfights going red in the kill feed, but that's until Cozy decides to hop on down. Shot's a bit shaky on side of the P1 hill. Sliding around and just waiting for Balla in the challenge out from the bottom side of you. Balla, a player that we look to on the CSP Esports to kind of lead the way, but Jaker's an aspect. Really 2 players that also come together in a beautiful SMG AR duo that I very much like watching.
Yeah, and I think to counter that on the other side, you just kind of look towards, Enigma, Gimby so far have been kind of stepping up off the early break for Buckeye CoD. You have a high ceiling to kind of hit right now if you're Buckeye CoD to take down somebody like Balla. He's been lights out in the conference final throughout the entire season, just rolling out the red carpet for the rest of your squad. So good time off P1 for CSP, but in transition to P2, Buckeye seeming to tie this one up now off of the early setup. It's a break from CSP around the back, and now they're in.
Ball on the back end of the car. Has a head glitch. Water check. 3 from the front. Lobby dead. So the last 3 players for the Buckeye CoD roster are going to be funneling directly through this front door. Balla with 9 HP will wrap around the left-hand side. Contestant still in. He's able to snap for 1. Is the second good enough? Yes, it is. 5 in a row for Papa Balla. Working towards that Hellstorm missile. Utility, an option here for CSP early.
A little bit of scrap time there for CSP to keep their lead buffed out. Good rotation out. You look at Cozy. Going to be on the case. Good catch from Juicy. So shoots him in the back. That is going to hopefully solidify some spawns back there for the rest of Buckeye CoD. But Balla now up top. Going to cause some issues. Gets eyes on shut. Doesn't finish the kill, but the rest of the team is there. They clean it up. And CSP break from P2 to P3 like it was nothing.
Yeah, 2 players left here, though. 1 inside of 10, 1 top plat. Both players I just called out also picked up, knocked off, and sent back to the respawn block. You'll have Balla still on 6. Finally gets that Hellstorm missile for his troubles. As those last 2 players going to be pushing from the outer side of the fence. He's able to snap in for 1, has help of the teammates over the top. SMG picked up, sliding back and forth. He still has yet to fall here. He's got 2 bodies pushing for him. He wisely backs all the way off and is still playing his life oh so perfectly. Enigma's up top, and finally Balla will come to a close. But with 10 seconds left, you're only playing for the scrap times here. Contest time and a rotation for CSP.
It's like all of that, it's just for like a drop of blood for time. You get 10 seconds, big whoop. CSP already at new. Cozy, not the best start, but a good chance to kind of pick things up. He's overwhelmed. So Buckeye CoD through the side key door. That's going to buffer you out a little bit more. Double team nade from Aspect. Balla goes down. That's going to allow Buckeye CoD to get a solidified setup, but you can see that Balla actually manages to get a split spawn. He's standing still back there towards Boathouse. I hope everything's all right with him.
And another team kill that comes in.
Oh,
Hellstorm
no.
invested. Jakers and Cozy fall down. And bodies for Buckeye CoD. So what could have been an extension of the lead for CSP. It's 2 costly team kills from 2 different players. And a total of 4 different players in total. Coming out to now a 2-point lead that continues to close up because Buckeye CoD still are here. Gunfights over the top 1. Might as well just not use utility whatsoever and just go straight for the guns here. CSP seem much more comfortable doing that.
Right now, your teammates have more team kills than Cozy has kills in general. aspect too. Yeah. But you're still winning, so you're feeling good right there, CSP. You come out, it's about a tie game heading into the second set of rotation, so now it's damage control heading back to P1. Enigma gonna catch Aspect in behind. You got a pinch play for the point. Cozy's gonna hop in, but you have no control of top, so Juicy now looking to allow at least his team to contest this time.
You only got one up top watching in support of P1. Bala will get his own trade onto Enigma. He will slide towards top. Paul Jakers will walk away with 115 and 6 for him, 15 and 8 from Bala. Cozy finally starts to get activated just a touch. He'll find 2 for him. Now through the rock slide challenge will be Enigma. You have to start looking over towards that right side of your mini map. You got player 3 in Aspect already out and rotated. P2 clearly the site of focus, but about a tie game after P1 here.
And I think for Buckeye, I mean, you're happy with that. P2, P3 was not friendly for you whatsoever. You get graced by a couple team kills, and now this is a moment that you just want to seize control of. So over towards New, big 1v1 for Juicy. He wins it, fights over towards the well. You have a cutoff man in Gimby. He's going to get the information, but shouldn't be shot from behind. Jakers going to be well aware of this positioning, so you take down Gimby. Now looking for the break. CSP, they're here. They're fighting. But no, good shutdown there. 3 go down. Cozy last one.
Oh, yeah.
Cozy comes away with it.
And that's a much-needed double from Cozy. Not only puts him up to 6, gets him out of double negative territory. Also allows CSP to break in off of one of the players that was struggling early on in this Hacienda. Enigma in the water. Hop-up opportunity. Has players trying to surround, but Bala has read this out perfectly. He knows exactly where Enigma is, and he's read him. Snap to the second. Not good enough. It's still Cozy inside of the point, but now Jakers, the last one, is going to need to find 2 for it. Maybe you have Aspect who can come in and close the deal.
Wow.
With 11 seconds left, you look to the rotation in middle map. Buckeye CoD trying to find these exits.
I mean, I know you're going to hate me saying this, but that was the perfect pinstripe kill feed for CSP to walk away with that last bit of time. Trades back and forth. Now on rotation for Buckeye. You're into P3, but again, Cozy's found a route. He's in through. You in this fight towards the top of office. Suddenly you're pressuring those back spawns, and Buckeye CoD just leaving way too much open right now.
Enigma's trying to set up the flank through middle map. Doesn't recognize that Jakers is going to get good timing, though. So out through middle. One of the players from Buckeye CoD shut down. This is where CSP were able to get some good time last time, thanks to some heroics from the man himself, Bala. 21 and 12 for him, leads the way. Aspect and Jakers, though, will pair for 2, and it's Bala who comes away with the 3rd. So 3 for 1 you go if you're CSP. You still hold on significant time here. And with 22 seconds left, now the decision is, you play for the exit times, you play for the scrap, or do you just fully rotate over on P4? I think Buckeye CoD just kind of got to chalk this one up now.
Yeah, so CSP just remaining in the lead. 10 more seconds before we head to the new hill. Hopefully, CSP can hold on to their nades and their shrieks, and they're not going to dump it on their teammates' foreheads. But this time it's Buckeye CoD coming away with their early kills here. Early setup as well to this hill. You're spawning up towards Boathouse of your CSP, but all eyes are on Bala to make a play. He's looking to flank this.
He's found 1 for it with the skateboard.
Wow.
So he will fall immediately. Cozy played patient and allowed for the hit through middle map to develop. And that flank that got rewrapped back to middle now forces the pressure directly towards the front here. CSP looking for Buckeye CoD as they rotate out of P2. And now it's going to be a flip back to the Boathouse side. And they're privy to it. Jakers will lay down. First one up to challenge was Enigma. Solo challenge that has help from middle map. As Gibby was shut down. Now it's only 2 players left here and they're forced to wait.
That is just something you just don't want to let happen. So Buckeye CoD now needing a break back into this one. They line up for Bala. Jakers there to help out. Gimby behind this one, but nice help again from CSP, just covering their tracks, covering the trails, and keeping themselves in a steady lead now for this Hacienda Map 1. Buckeye CoD down but not out. Surely you're trailing by about 70 points, almost just under that.
Yeah.
And you now need to put everything you can into trying to not only get a good amount of time here at this P1, but you need a safe, secure transition to P2 as well.
I mean, that's just a great second set of rotations for CSP.
It was.
Multiple players coming alive, just being able to help out, get in the mix where they need to. And it allows them to score big on P2, P3, and P4. But here back on the 3rd set, we're inside of P1. Buckeye CoD have gotten about the first 15-20 seconds of time on it. Clean break from CSP, and this is going to get them the time, and they're going to be able to push their way forward to P2.
Big wins from CSP again, just causing disarray. towards those backspawn anchors. Jaker's going to lock things down. You get the scrap time too a little bit. Every second counts right now for CSP, so it's Aspect now to jump in, see what you can grab away from that. But again, force the attention of Buckeye back to that P1 hill while the rest of your team is at P2. But what is this? Aspect spawns in Narnia, and you got to weigh in if you're Chut. You could be the hero.
You also have a flank coming through the rock now because of that spawn out from Aspect, but it's directly up the driveway, the front door and the ramp. You have two bodies in the back if you are Buckeye CoD. Those first few kills for CSP were enough damage to be able to grab the time, and Cozy once again finds himself coming back to it on P2. What a snap from Yi. Still just not enough body, not enough presence from Buckeye CoD. They have to push.
Last chance here in 12 seconds needed. Spawning all the way over to P1. Jut, closest person to set, hop in and contest, finds one. Can you snap the second one? Aspect gonna close that kill and potentially close the map as well. There it is. Last kills come through, and CSP map 1. What an incredible hacienda from this squad. Everybody getting a piece of the pie. 250 to 164. And after that second set of rotations, Goran, it was just nothing but CSP breaking, rotating, finding all the kills, finding all the value. They just looked unstoppable.
Well, I mean, early off, it was just a straight up and down AR div. The ARs from CSP were nuking Buckeye CoD off the map. I think that much was apparent as we looked at the early scoreboard. But that trend continued throughout the entire game. 36 and 33 from Jakers and Balla respectively. That's 99 kills between the two of them. Almost get 100 for both. I mean, you have 7,100 damage between them. 31 and 25 non-traded kills respectively. And this is what I wanted to see right here. You know, you started off, CSP had themselves a little advantage. P4 back to P1. All of a sudden, Buckeye CoD, they start to sliver it back, and we think, okay, maybe on that second set of rotations, things get good. And then it was P2, and then it was like, okay, well, this is not what we wanted for Buckeye CoD, and then the Ohio State did not understand how to break a hill. So that is pretty much all she wrote from start to finish. And that P4 where, you know, you got those 2 team kills, I think that's really where a lot of the mishaps came from. If we don't see the team kill from the grenade and then the team kill from the Hellstorm as well, I think that lead could have extended even further earlier on inside of this game, but they gave themselves an in Buckeye CoD, although they took what was at least afforded to them through the errors of CSP. Just unfortunately, we're not able to combat the late resurgence of some of the SMGs for CSP, but more importantly, they had nothing to throw at the ARs whatsoever.
Yeah, even you see it in the graph, P4, the first one, that's where all the mishaps happen with the team kills. And then, you know, P1 into P2. I feel like in that moment, you're just kind of pushing and shoving each other. Like, what the heck? Why are you team killing? A little bit of disorder this side of CSP. And then they figured it back out, and it's just a steady incline the rest of the series. I mean, I agree with you. I think if those mishaps didn't happen, it's probably an even more convincing map 1 for CSP. But for the Buckeye CoD, for the Ohio State University Buckeye Gaming Collective core, now going into this map 2 Hacienda Search and Destroy. This is something where you got to look at the performance that Balla and Jakers just put on against you. And you need somebody to match that, or at least shut it down whenever you can, because it just seemed like as soon as Balla and Jakers had a little bit of room to move through, I'm talking about those P3 rotations or even the P2 rotations, you had so many times where Buckeye CoD were in the right spots, in the right positions, and then you just leave one route open. Jakers, Balla, they walk through, they find a double kill, and then bam, you're broken in a matter of seconds. So you got to look into this Hacienda, and you got to make sure that you're communicating well for Buckeye CoD, making sure you're watching those routes and not allowing CSP through.
I'm going to be honest here for this Hacienda. Buckeye CoD are going to have to respect the challenges in middle map. The top and open close sides of middle map here
just don't even
are
go
going
there.
to be Balla and Jakers territory every single round, specifically when they double chow out a specific side, because they have done that multiple times throughout the few broadcasts that we've been able to see of them on the mainstream. I'm telling you, on that offense, that double hit top right open when they're trying to get out to the B side to Planet Rock, they're going to double chow that. They're probably going to knock you for it. And if they solo chow it, it's still not a guaranteed win for Buckeye CoD either, as we saw on that map 1. So that is what I'm more concerned about than anything else for the 19th ranked roster going into the second map. On the counterattack to that, though, and the opposite side, the SMGs from CSP did feel a bit lackluster. I had called on Aspect a few times. We see a bit of good from them in the P2 hard points, but on the rotations around middle map, they were getting caught off on a lot of timings. And although they were supplementing the team by grabbing that important hill time, it still was something that I was a bit concerned with, because an SMG on Hacienda, you should be able to get a good route in there. You should be able to get some good timings, or at least set yourself up for a nice play. And a few times they were able to do that towards the end of the game. But more importantly speaking than anything else, going into the search and destroy, I think if Buckeye CoD can get the better of the SMGs in the early going, they can set up some flank routes to the bottom of middle map, maybe through the P1 hole if nobody's watching over middle map, or maybe you catch a good timing on one of the sites. I think the SMG gameplay, when you pair those two players on Buckeye CoD together, are going to be able to maybe set a tone or get an advantage early on against what CSP is going to throw out. I think once again it's going to come down to the ARs to set the pace for CSP.
No, I think that even like this version of Hacienda can even like makes that point even like better too, because you look at like the addition to New Hall right here on screen, and like that adds even more routes that those subs can like move, get lost in, and it's like who on Buckeye CoD was really getting that done? You didn't really ever see a sub trying to get aggressive back in that map 1. So things to look at here in map number 2. The CSP, though, starting to put the top 25 committee on notice once again after that map 1 victory. See if they can go back-to-back, go up 2-0. Buckeye CoD on the attacking side. Bomb lingering at A, but the rest of Buckeye CoD taking their sweet time on deciding where to go.
I think they were just trying to throw early util, maybe catch somebody out on B just because no trophies were being used, but just a change of pace. Aspect with the AR in hand instead of the SMG, unfortunately, gets pushed up through the top side of plat. Doesn't recognize that the push came through secret, so all of a sudden, Buckeye CoD, full south side control of the map. Jaker spots one out completely deep, but this should be full information that they're going to be getting this bomb down on A. So what does a retake look like here for CSP?
That is just good bait. CSP fall, hook, line, and sinker. Now for the retake for Juicy. He's going to push back into lobby. On the hunt, Cozy turns and burns. That would have been a good kill to get for Enigma, but now it's Cozy in the 1v3. He's been spotted. Wallbangs, be damned. It's going to be Enigma to put this one away. So Buckeye CoD, brilliant round number 1 coming up from this team. And it all kind of comes down to that opening play that you called. You drop all that util over towards B. It just pulls the full attention of 3 players to that site. And you're not just going to leave one guy at A. So even he has to back in towards office. And that just gives up a free plant, 4v4. Then you push out in the post plant and you win your fights.
Also nice not getting peppered up with anything over on the A side, because if they wanted to just bully ball it out A and you have maybe 2 bodies there on the early side of the round, or give somebody an opportunity to rotate over too. I mean, you got a nade, you got a stun, you got anything that can, thwart that early push. I mean, it just leads to chaos for Buckeye CoD. So over on the opposite side, CSP will do just that, though. They will try to bully this one out. Bala opens up on Chud. Jaker still has the AR out, looks for Juicy in the corner. So the trade that is in almost turns sour. Flank around the backhand side, timing not good enough. So now it's Cozy left alive in a 1v2.
Another 1vx situation for Cozy with the bomb down. Don't know that the bomb is down. I don't think they even saw him cross. So potentially get some timing here. Shoulder in, they see it, and there's the chow through. Lots of damage done. Cozy on 7 HP. Now here's the chase. Buckeye CoD looking to swing this one together. Take the fight, but Cozy finesses. I thought for a second, Corn, he had the read, but he just didn't have the health to make it happen.
That made me a little upset, I'm not going to lie. Because Aspect, or excuse me, Cozy, on the back end there, had both his frag grenade and his stun. And he knew at least one player was inside of you. I would have loved to see, especially in a 1v2, trying to just damage up one person, maybe just cook the frag for a second, wait for somebody to make that chow, because they're not going to just over-aggress on that immediately. If he tosses that in one of the corners and somehow gets luck on the 50-50 that the other person's going to be playing there, and that might even give him a 1v1 without even having to take a gunfight with his gun yet. So, I don't know. Don't want to have any sort of utility left in your belt after the round is over, but directly up through secret. Aspect's going to be laying down this time. It's a good trade. 3-3. Bomb up top near the office. Maybe wrapping out back out.
Good shots there from Gemby. 9 HP. Barely walking away with his life. 3 versus 2. And Cozy's going to try to aggress him for this one. He's behind them all. If he gets this kill, it's bomb down. He walks away unscathed. And that gives CSP a chance at this round.
But they know that he wrapped back to middle. Didn't flank. Juicy just wanted to go for a quick check on it. There you go. Throwing the nade out, gets information. Doesn't get the check on it. Bala's looking deep.
They're going
Doesn't
around
spot
the
anything
world.
out on it, and they went all the way through. So now Bala could make the re-wrap on the flank that went through the spawn side. And as this
Always
bomb goes
timing.
down, what's the timing for Bala here? First up challenge, good. Second one on the bomb, even better. A flank of a flank. Poetic here on Hacienda.
It's when the flanker flanks the flankers who are flanking your spawn. It's flanks everywhere in that round. But his timing couldn't have been better for Bala. It couldn't have been better for Cozy as well, because Cozy finding that kill, it kind of sets up the attackers in the mindset of like, okay, so obviously somebody's going to be lurking towards top halls. We can't just go for the bomb plant at B, because he could obviously peek through the key door and get a free kill onto either one of us. And you don't want to plant it for office, because what if there's somebody up there? So it's the right call to make the full wrap to A. It's just unfortunate timing, COD timing, some might say. So 2-1 we go for Buckeye COD. It's going to be a battle, head on. Enigma here, lines them all up, almost all four. Bala alone, 1v3 tagged up, and this should be the round done and dusted. Double chows out, and that's it.
One of the faster rounds you'll see on Hacienda. The lineup there with Enigma just on the head glitch. One of the things is, like, you always think, oh, more bodies is going to equal more success on the site, especially when you're pushing it into 3v2. You just maybe don't expect to slide in, and then, you know, the sub that might have pushed forward to try to break the camera, come back to the right, and then be directly in front of your teammates, because then you're shooting him in the back. You're not really getting much damage on the opponent, and your opponent's also getting free damage on you at the same time as you line up. So 3 players fall to the hands of Enigma. Things turn out well for the Buckeye COD roster, and they go back up 2 rounds, heading over to the A site to get this bomb down.
Trophy's not catching anything. CC looking to pick some pace up in the tempo. Catches Aspect off guard. That's a free plant at A if Cozy doesn't get here in time. And he is going to be here. Does he beat the bomb plant? No, he doesn't. So bomb planted Cozy right here.
Ninja, maybe?
Ooh.
He was looking for something, but I think there was eyes and arrows that turned headwise for Buckeye COD back out on the site.
Looking.
Cozy's found a timing to get through. Ball is up top. SMG slide in, not enough. Maybe a hipfire would have won it for him. Instead, Cozy left alive. They're probably wondering how the hell he was down on the A site, and well, that's a good question, but he's got 3 players starting to circumference eyes on him, and they just fully collapse, and that's a GG done and dusted. So another round where Buckeye COD just have the man advantage all the way through and win the trade battle.
I think even I'm wondering what he's doing on that A site. You know what, Corn? A real gangster would have popped that bomb.
All right, well, it looks like we are crashed out here, so not exactly sure if it was a player, if it was OBS, if it was anything within that realm or wheelhouse. But the one thing I can say for certain is Buckeye COD looked much better than CSP in this Hacienda Search and Destroy. And this is what I was kind of worried about going into this map is it's exactly what I said was the counter to CSP, and it's the SMGs of activation on Buckeye COD. You look to Enigma with the 3-piece over on the rock side. That's cool, right? That's awesome. But it's the way that they're able to push up through top secret. It's the way that they're able to take a few ratty routes. It's the way that they're making sure that their backs are covered at all times. Because CSP has been showing the want to be able to flank around or maybe hit a play from behind. And when those get thwarted out, when those aren't available to you, then CSP is kind of left scratching their heads like, okay, well, now we just got to wait for our ARs who are posted up on the opposite side of where Buckeye COD are actually hitting to get a kill, and, well, you can't really do that.
It's like, it's the difference of map 1 and like map 2. The SMGs aren't afraid to run those routes. They're not afraid to take those challenges. And I feel like it's just completely different than the timid Buckeye COD that we saw in the Hacienda Hardpoint. This is a surprising stat line for me because just last series, for Buckeye COD, they squared up on the Hacienda Search and Destroy versus the Dakota State University, and they got taken to a round 11 by DSU. So for them to show up versus CSP, respectively, a lot more stronger of a team, and to show up like this, I'm not sure if they were trying new strats in that last series or what was going on. I didn't have eyes in that game, but this is an impressive turnaround for Buckeye COD, where I was actually worried after the Hardpoint.
Yeah, I think they're going to play this one out from what I'm seeing in the chat right now. So Not exactly sure what the game plan is here, but I think what I'll do is I'll send us to a quick break so we can get everything sorted out in the back end. Search and Destroy will give you the results of what happens here in map 2 when we come back from a break. CSP probably going to be down or at least tied at 1 apiece to this Buckeye CoD roster. CSP in the Search and Destroy, so we're tied effectively in this series at 1 apiece. Jakers will drop down the middle after Bala will open up with that nade. Gimby's here to watch No Man's Land and inside of the P1 area. But for right now, there is still player on A. And as quickly as I say that, it is that player cut down immediately. So Ball off the point. Half a tick of progress on A. No draining of it yet. 2 players pushed up in the spawn side for Buckeye CoD and top trips control for the defense.
I've seen Shat go Bala in 3. I've seen Shat say Bala, Shakala, Dunkanya, Buckeye CoD in 5. Right now, still might be in 5, but that Bala in 3 is not going to happen off of that map 1 victory from Buckeye. Back into the respawns. One of the notable things here that we have to see work on for Buckeye CoD in the respawns is the AR presence. They got smoked by Jakers and Bala, so especially on the protocol, that's going to change.
That's a nice little pinch play, though, in the back line to clear out your spawn side. So the defense will spawn safe. Enigma will push their way forward. And as quickly as I said, the spawn side was safe. Jaker slipped all the way through from where he was on A, and that's another 3 down. He might start working on B. Could potentially even push the spawns out, but this is going to spawn them a bit closer to A, so they need to be wary of a push back to point.
Yeah.
But now on the flank, here comes Jakers, setting up for 1. Second one, lined up. Challenge, out, almost a turn on. But now can hop up and get away. That's 3 dead, now almost number 4, and it should very well be as Bala gets it. Now they're on B immediately. Spawns are close, though, so he's going to have a couple bodies here.
Shot first up, slides, too much damage. Just gotta wait for the teammates. But Aspect's gonna fly. Fortunately enough for Shot, both Enigma and Gimby fighting out of their spawns respectively. So a little bit of pressure back in towards the zone. Bala alone. He's got backup. Jakers makes it in time to have that overwatch. Cozy closes off the kill onto Shot. And that might be Acorn. They're gonna stack the zone. It's going fast. I'm not sure if anybody's gonna get here in time. They don't. And CSP from 0 to hero in that round, and a lot of it just comes off the back of the distractions that Jakers provided throughout the back spawn. Just an incredible burning.
The thing is like, you're on A, you're just playing your life there. Buckeye CoD, they take care of the first player that was up within their spawn, but it took 2 to 3 bodies to even get that player cleared out, and then they started pushing back up the map, but by the time they had gotten back by the AA gun to push the P3 bottom building, Jakers had already flooded his way all the way through the spawn side and was able to be up and behind you. So those kills, instrumental in being able to take that round, spawn them close over by Heli. And now you can look over No Man's to look for Gimby. Gimby, weakened up, will drop down. Has a player pushing him from the bottom side of No Man's. Could that nade be placed well enough? Answer for release right now, no. But the B site clearly in the favor of Buckeye CoD here. They've got 3 bodies stacking around and 1 player's going to get on. And now they're looking to the spawn side as they hop up to the lighthouse.
Late to the progress, though. They're only just starting that first segment, so no stacking, but it's going to give a lot of time for CSP to see if they can reflect and get back into this one. But finally, the stack's going to be in. Skill's just continuing to bleed in this kill feed, so Buckeye CoD working out the extremities, just still only on that second tick, so not enough bodies here. CSP can have another shot. They're going to slide together. Double shell in. Cozy waits, but the kills come through, and it's enough to break this B zone for now.
It just takes so long to fully clear out where you're going to be trying to get push from on the B zone. And by the time that you get, maybe 1 or 2 waves down, you're then looking at a completely different zone. But as the distraction on B turned the heads of CSP on the defense, now they're back on A. They've got 2 ticks for it on themselves here. Jakers trying to make a route to get behind a few, but Top Grandma's was able to spot 1 out. Ball will slide up close, helps out Jakers for the first one. Second one, snap immediately. Bottom Grandma is able to find 1 for it. Now the last lot, Top Trips and Gimby. So a good shutdown on CSP on the defense. There's a minute left, and they still have an opportunity to get this A thing here, and very, very quickly they will. Oh, I thought it was.
Whoa.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah, that's got to be a buzzer beater.
The chinny chins with the hairs on top.
He's getting neutralized now, too. I mean, that is back-to-back zones where it's been messy for CSP. But Buckeye CoD just haven't been able to collect. Jaker is now on the flank. He's been spotted.
Okay,
Big win from Gimby. And that has to be the A zone collected. Now you can already see bodies from Buckeye CoD working over towards B. They're going to have a chance to stack this one.
They're looking towards the top. 2 players pushing, but the bottom side of Grandma's, you don't get the read on it. Chud, he looks for the second back through the spawn side. 2 players on it, trying to stack it. Now, here comes the CSP push for the backside. Second one, Cozy, taken down by Juicy as he finds 2 on the point for good. So offense for offense here on Protocol. Okay. I dig it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a juicy round. I mean, two very, very messy defenses, Corey, on both sides.
Very.
At first, it's, you can't kill Jakers in your spawn if you're Buckeye, and then, if you're CSP on the other side, you just can't kill anybody. Yeah, Jakers hit the late flank. It's a big read from Gimby. If Jakers gets to sidewalk there, I imagine he has free shots on a couple of those Buckeye COD members. But the fact that CSP contested both of those points, and the first contest that they had was after 2 segments were already collected, is just, that is... you're obviously not positioned in the right spots there for CSP to stop those attacks. So see if they can both work on their defenses now.
The defensive sprint through middle map. The nade landing on top, it'll blow up immediately after. Both of those first offensive rounds had the one thing in common. Bodies that were sent towards B early on and then a feint wrap back to A. It's just that Buckeye COD got more forward off there. Some 2 ticks on that B zone. So down on A. All will throw a trophy. Keeps himself safe from any sort of attacks or nades. I want to come over the top one. Long range shots onto the sidewalk. Has a player inside a top grandma to try and cut down, but Aspect doesn't clean the kill up. So now if you don't finish your food, the second tick doesn't get locked in, and you're lucky to even scramble for 1.
I guess they missed out on comms here. Aspect just going to see if he can put a dent into the setup now. Wait his turn. Teammates winning fights off the spawn. It's going to be Bala leading the charge back over towards A to finish off this second segment. And there it is. So working on the third now. Aspect, who's just been waiting inside Grandma's. No contest up top. He's going to be able to turn around, take the players out towards lower. Unfortunately enough for Buckeye COD, you're winning some fights back into the spawn of CSP because that could have gotten dire.
Now Shades of Map 1 coming back to bite him once again. Another team kill for CSP as they had 2 bodies trying to eclipse on the A zone. Instead, it'll be Buckeye COD who get back on it, and Chuck can lay down in a very, very difficult to contest power position. So 2 ticks in totality, 35 seconds left here in the round, and you've got a player pushing up in your spawn side. You have to read it if you're Jakers. You don't get the timing on it. So in through the lockers. Finally, Aspect will push out. You get 1 for 1. Now you got a second up through middle map inside of the bottom P3. The timing is good, so 1 player remaining. You might be able to get on it, but you still have top grandmas you got to worry about if you're Bala.
Foster, stop the time. Stay alive. Now, nice nade from Gibby again, just bleeding that clock. He's gonna find 2. 3 down. Jakers, can you be the hero now? Shots up top. He's gonna jump through. 2 tagged up to get down to that point. 8 seconds left. Trades just continuing to punish CSP from the zone, but the stacks in. Gibby not able to put the dagger in just yet. They're gonna capture this one, but look at the lives now.
It's 6 separation. You got to get on the B zone. And the first one from Bala where you think you have to win that gunfight. Chud is able to take it via the way of headshots. Still 6 the differential. Into the back line is Cozy. Might be able to make him hesitate for a moment, but you still got to get through No Man's. You got top trips control right now, but as Cozy falls, now it's just a 3-man hit from No Man's Land, and those yet red arrows, they're just going to start pushing that map back up.
This is losable, but CSP are not really putting together a strong enough attack at this point. Very disconnected. Lots of solo chows. Not what you want to see for a last-second push, but 2 down. Fortunately enough, Buckeye COD set themselves up on off angles. They're going to be able to track those players, and that's going to be a successful defensive stop there, only giving up 3 segments with that A zone capture. And Corey, I was just thinking when I was watching that too. I mean, the head glitch that Shut was on that A turret, I swear that head glitch and the one towards mid gun that you can get on to watch, like the corner to ladder, those are, I think, the nastiest headies that we have in BO6.
Those are enough to make me not ever want to play Protocol ever again. Not that the map itself doesn't make me already want to do that, but those 2 glitches in particular are very annoying to shoot against. I will say, the one push that they had early going to A, where I thought it was going to be good, where they had 3 bodies, they kind of just haphazardly pushed out, and they didn't watch the left side gun, and that allowed Buckeye COD to really just take over on the defense there, which was more or less why I was kind of like, nyeh, when that first hit came through. I didn't expect them to be able to fully cap A, but I mean, at least they get a few ticks for the trouble that they threw out. Top trips, you find Aspect who's trying to flank into your spawn side, so you clear out those little rats that want to push up on Concordia St. Paul. Now you can get on A, you can stop the clock out. You're playing for that first tick once again. No Man's fully watched over. Great shots from Jakers, though, clears it out. 18 and 18 for him, leads the way for CSP.
You have your win condition set right now if you're Buckeye COD. All you need is 3-4 segments, and you're still contesting for that round 5 defense. It's just if you get 3, then you're leaving it up to kills. If you get 4, you've solidified the defense in terms of objectives. So that's your win condition right now. Barring you don't win just off this offense alone. But with the way that CSP are playing, they're actually doing a really good job at getting aggressive and shutting down these plays.
Got a deep nade, no man's. Might we get a player up on Buckeye CoD? Nobody able to scramble in the middle map just yet. Jakers, once again, will just look to take this rope chow. Doesn't get spotted out, but Enigma's pushed all the way through. But you have Top Trip's control, and you find the player inside a lighthouse. Snap challenge back to the right-hand side for Jakers up top. Continues to lead the way in clear space for CSP on the map. Juicy's up behind one, though. What damage can you find?
This is like the same play that Aspect was making in the round prior. Just get rogue through Grandma's and see if you can get lost. Aspect is chasing him all over for a second. I thought he was just chasing a shadow, but Aspect finally cleans that kill up. He's going to find 2. In retaliation, a chance to maybe touch this ace home, but there's 7.5 seconds left. You can't give up this progress. You can't hop off the zone, but Bala's going to have an angle. Enigma's he needs help.
Oh, but so does Aspect, because Aspect had a 1v1 over on the B zone. So now if you don't get A, you at least have the clock being stalled on B, and this is going to allow bodies to start flying over. So now it's a 2-2 split, and you have the third now starting to rotate over, playing the planners. 2 lives the advantage to CSP, but on the zone, Buckeye CoD winning the gunfights that they need to, and that's until Bala comes in and cleans things up. But now it's Enigma on the flank, who gets a double of his own. 9v11. Cozy slide shell out to middle. Nobody on the zone just yet, but they'll stop it again.
This is just everything flipped on a dime. And Aspect goes down on the flank. So all eyes forward for Buckeye CoD. They got 3 down. They can steal this one away. They got the stack on.
Juicy in middle. Cleans up yet another. Off spawn, CSP are getting lit up, almost Enigma for another. But it's a weak challenge in from Bala. Pre-fire shots from Chut. No players here to touch the zone. And Buckeye CoD, once again, all it took was 1 wipe in the middle of the map. They send bodies on opposite sides, and a 1v2 that was won over from Juicy on the opposite side of the map on B clears the way for them to push through mid, and they get both zones.
I think it was Walla himself the other day who just comes out and he says, you know what? Breakers break. And he loves when the lights are bright. So right now on the stage, that is not the ball I'm expecting. A very messy control, 20 and 25 out of himself, 13 and 27 out of Cozy. I mean, a fantastic series or map out of Aspects and Jakers, but just in general, Buckeye CoD were everywhere. They were winning so many crucial gunfights. I gotta tip it to Gimby and the plays that he was making too. Not only on the attack to catch that second round offensive flank from Jakers to capture that A zone, but then you move over towards defense. He's sitting in Grandma's and he's able to stall that A zone solo for about 20, 30 seconds, just as CSP keep on solo challenging him. Not only that, but Buckeye CoD, their defense, they just kept on controlling top triple. They were always sending players into the spawn of CSP, draining those lives. And I mean, that is the Ohio State University that we were kind of expecting here. And Buckeye CoD, map 1, maybe you're shaking off the rust of a couple of FFs that you didn't get to play, but map 2 and 3, very lights out CoD.
I mean, it's looked very good. And there's one thing I do kind of want to touch on here. It's more so a negative of CSP from that map. And one person in particular, I hate to solo it out, but Cozy in the respawns does not look comfortable. And when Cozy is pretty much playing in a role to where he may be the only or lonesome SMG player like he was on that Hacienda Search and Destroy, if he is not able to find any timings on the map, if you don't allow for him to make a play or set somebody up with him to then open the map up for yourselves, it's not going to be good. What do we see all the time out of SMGs in Protocol, right? We see flashy plays. We see maybe a 1 or 2 piece off the spawn side, or at least getting 1 to force the line back, or playing 1 life, getting away, getting yourself lost, and then being able to re-hit that again. That's what we saw from Jakers when he went through the backside and he was playing the flanks. because that was what they needed. When he got that huge like 3-4 piece on the offense to set them up for the A zone, where they were able to then get over to B, the entirety of that play fringed off of one person making that flank play.
Yeah.
Normally that's not going to be your AR. Normally that's supposed to be your SMG, just trying to get mixy, your Shotzzy-esque role, your a BZ-esque role. I'm not comparing the players directly 1-1, but I'm just trying to give you a direct comparison to where you can kind of visualize it in that role. So when CoD's not able to do that as what would be your main sub for this roster of CSP, that's where things start to fall apart. On Protocol, it's going to be the same thing once again here. Instead of in the control, it's the hard point. I need CoD to have himself a map here, or just be able to find some sort of subsidiary aspect on the map, because if he does not, I don't see a world where CSP can continue to play at the level they are. They're going to need to have another massive game from Jakers and Bala just to have a chance here if the ARs are going to continue to be the role that they were in map 1.
Aspect had the Jackal out in that map 3. He was at least doing good at getting lost, covering grandmas, but no, you're right. I think that Jakers is just trying to pick up too much, and I think if CoD doesn't step up here, this might be a Buckeye CoD in 4. As we head back into the Protocol, looking to see if he can get it done. Force the map 5, CSP starting on the more preferred side for that P2 rotation, but take a look at Aspect. He is taking the long route all the way through the spawn of Buckeye CoD.
You're hoping they can just keep bodies stacked over on the grandma side while Aspect makes this play, but it's read out immediately. Gimby finds him. 3 down once again, and now Jakers is last alive all by his lonesome in the bottom side of grandma's. Has to dip around from the piano, dance in front of the pool table, and you don't get anything else except well, a couple white keys here and there with a couple of pick pops in the chat.
At least you're able to break that P1 for a moment. You stagger the time that Buckeye CoD are gaining off of this hill. Looks like you've been flipped out back in towards P3 spawns, so you're going to have to work your way through triple, see if you can take control of top mid, and then push into P2 from the front side. But again, Buckeye CoD just spreading the map so well. You got top triple control for a second. You flip it around again. You try to go and pin CSP into the back of P2 spawns, but instead, losing those battles, you lose the chaos. It becomes a mess, and CSP find a way through.
It's a 1v2 back on the site, has 2 challenging from the top side of Platts, and once again, it's an immediate breakback. So where CSP were able to bully their way through the front, they lose the important gunfights that they need to keep themselves in contention for the time. And as Juicy's watching the push for 3 different players, now all 4 trying to flood through the same angle. You just have no map spread. Your entire contention hinges on being able to push directly forward. Pistol swap, ball is there, but it's a trade immediately. All 4 bodies, yet again, dead on arrival. Buckeye CoD, an incredible start to Protocol.
Yeah, they are just firing on all cylinders. That's that Hopsy loss. They turned up in the search and destroy, and they've never looked back. So, Gimby working these P3 rotations, see if you can lock down those back spawns, which they do. Set up for the initial time. It looks like Cozy's going to try to hit through Spiral. The rest of them working through No Man's Land, and losing out on those couple of kills. Enigma, he's just pushed so far up, and he's not even flipping the spawns.
They win maybe one more gunfight. The spawn should flip, though. And into the back, you have 3 players and 3 bodies here for CSP. So finally, you'll get some positioning on the map. You can let things stay quiet for another 3 to 4 seconds before those hits to the front door and around the right side come through. But you have to look to Enigma, who's all the way back behind on the heli push. Looking for maybe 1 or 2. Aspect's able to find 1 on the sidewalk. But over by the lockers, that's the plays I was talking about with the SMGs. Those big 2 pieces to give yourself not only the timings, but the split spawns in the back. It keeps your bodies here, and with 11 seconds left, now you're going down low. You find 1 and 1. It goes 2 for 3. So down low, Buckeye CoD should be here first, but it's Cozy who makes the play with Aspect there. The SMGs finally providing something for CSP.
Yeah, I mean, Cozy crucial for that break in P3, and now Aspect and Cozy punch at full rate to the setup that was P4. So CSP here first to the money hill. There's a good chance to maybe flip this lead. Only player that's going to be flanking this one is Enigma. He's working through premise. He's going to drop down elevator, and Bala gets the turn on. But that damage is going to be threatening. He needs his teammates to go big inside the hill, so they do. 3 down, make it a full clean 4. Bala's going to take down Shut, and CSP holds strong.
He knows one's out through the no man's door, but Jakers, who came off the spawns, goes top P2, and now they can set their eyes back to Spiral. Headshot onto Juicy. Second one out through no man should get picked up here in a moment, but it's Bala, who's now on 4 in a row, staying down inside of time, waiting for his teammates to be able to pick up the off angles. Challenge, just the worst timing of it. Chut's still there through the big door. CSP on a back end of a huge P3, P4 rotation find themselves back in control.
Yeah, but CSP kind of making light work for some of these breaks, some of these SMG battles that they're winning. Protocol definitely feeling a lot more comfortable for players like Aspect and Cozy to just go rogue, and albeit kind of getting a little outslayed still, but it's Gimby who's having the slow game for Buckeye CoD. It's just that weakness in the armor is definitely being exposed a little bit from this Buckeye CoD rotation. Jaker is going to find a good kill there onto Chut, but the rest of the team steps up, and Buckeye are going to get major time of P1 once again. They got the setup.
Ball is switching back and forth between AR and SMG, depending on which hill he's playing. P3 and P4, it looks like he's picking the SMG up. But over through middle map, he's trying to use the AR to his advantage. Finds Enigma there. Comes off the backside of Grandma. Is able to find yet another. Chut in top Grandma will escape the quietness of the corner, at least for now. But Aspect is still looking P3 side, trying to push the issue. Spotted one back towards the bottom of P3, but on the opposite side of the map, it's Cozy trying to clear out Grandma's. He will absolutely do it. That's 3 bodies dead. Buckeye CoD, last one on the zone.
Well, this scrap time they're fighting for here, what I'm worried about is this rogue spawn that Chut's going to get. It's actually going to pull spawn for Gimby as well. So Juicy's underneath. He's going to try to play for top triple, see if he can get above the play. And everybody else trying to take control of mid while they surge this point. The collapse works out for a break, and now you got to be worried about the position that Juicy has. He's all the way above everybody.
An Aspect knows he's there. So as long as they're ready for it, they should be able to take care of the player up top. But with no bullets left in the Jackal, he's forced to switch back. 6 kills straight. Gimby looking for a few more stragglers on the point, but Aspect to slip the net. He's gotten all the way back in through middle map and now hops onto P2 for the time. Lays down. Looks for Enigma. Trophy system not there to hold him off. Trying to play for a streak, and I think he might have fallen. No, he did not. He's still good. I think he got the Hellstorm off that.
It's going to be close for that. He does. So 7 in a row Hellstorm for Aspect. That's going to come in clutch, especially for that most likely third rotation that we had to for P1 if CSP doesn't get the rotation to P1 or P2. But now we're heading to P3. Again, you look back to last time that you were here, it was Cozy through Spiral that broke this hill. You lose Aspect in the back. Now you got to time this right.
Long shots from Balla, swapped to the SMG to finish him off. And Jaker's the worst timing possible as Gimby came off spawn. So where CSP made their bread and butter the last time on P3, got back up and then dropped to P4 to tie the game up. Buckeye CoD looking to extend their lead once more.
Well, let's talk about this a little bit too. I mean, Gimby from 2-8 to 11-13. Stark difference from that first set of hills, and you can see it actually starting to reflect in the scoreline that we're seeing for Buckeye CoD now that they have the ARs present for these topside hardpoints. Heading to P4, I mean, again, you look towards CSP. They need to get this rotation and win these fights inside. Last time it was a clinic between Cozy and Aspect. They're here. Cozy wins a big one, but can he hold on? There's Ball alongside him, and Juicy comes away with 2. So this is a dire situation now for CSP. They need a break.
That was a 1v1 you had to win, but it was a 2v1 that Enigma was able to come out on top of by his lonesome on rotation. And now you look down low. Balla will pick up the AR once again. Snap to the first, can't find the second. Nobody there. Jakers will try to suffice. Sprints all the way past, but they should be able to call him out from elevator. Second gunfight, won by Jakers. Keeps him alive. Bodies here. Gunfights now to CSP. 35 seconds of time. Won't tie the game up, but it'll get him within about 20.
Yeah, I mean, it's enough. And you still have that Hellstorm, too, for when you go to P1 or P2. So you think about, you get this time, you chain a couple other hills. That's going to be a good recipe to success. Maybe to bring this one back, but Buckeye CoD find a way through back at P4, and they're stealing the scrap time away?
Not something you were hoping for CSP. Concordia St. Paul now kind of reeling back, trying to get space in middle map. They need to make sure they don't get hit from 2 different angles. You'll play for the bottom side of time, so you can at least make sure that they're going to spawn on one side of the map. Right now, you're looking for Gimby. He is the biggest contention point, but the same thing could be said about Chut. You have the Hellstorm to work with still if you are Aspect. Pistol shot's good. Gonna drop down potentially to the bottom side of the map, but gunfights being won. White in the kill feed. One more on Gimby towards the bottom side of Grandma's. They're gonna spawn P2, but time for CSP.
CSP are in. And they hold Cozy up top. Oh, you would have loved to win that one out. Shots at range with the Jackal, taking up CSP a little bit, but still slowly grabbing this time towards P1. You got a flame coming out from Enigma up top. Good read from Balla. Aspect trying to slowly edge his way to P2, but it's another overextension from Juicy just behind the play. He's going to have some shots to these players. You're surrounded. if you're CSP. And this is winner's advantage for Buckeye CoD.
Yeah.
They just continue to throw bodies at this scrap time to deny it from CSP.
This is where you need the Hellstorm. Hellstorm has to come in off the spawn right here from Aspect. Immediately, you just have to try and find these players as you're picking them off. You cannot allow them to push through. You cannot allow them to find 9 seconds. So as he falls, it's now on Bala to look back to middle map. First one, Top Gun, challenge, goes his way. 2 players now looking to push back for the planter side. It's gunfights that go the way. But now as Aspect looks to push back forward, where is the streak? Where is the Hellstorm? The Hellstorm has not come into play, and you're not going to be able to use it here.
You're the last one up. Here you go. You got to race. You got to contest, but no. CSP, they don't make it in time. And the Ohio State Buckeye Gaming Collective shutting down CSP in a major match. 4 winners round 3 from the Midwest. That sets the Buckeyes up for a rematch versus Northwood in an emphatic comeback through maps 2, 3, and 4. Just never looking back after the hardpoint loss in map 1.
3 seed takes down the 2nd seed. The Golden Bears down to the lower bracket. They will have to fight tooth and nail to allow themselves maybe a chance to get back to the lower finals. Maybe get a rematch with this Buckeye CoD roster, depending on how that match against Northwood Blue goes. We'll take a look at the spread here, and Colin, what do you know? It's almost identical to what we saw from the Hacienda, just going the way of Buckeye CoD this time. After they hit stride and S&D in map 2, it just feels like they never look back.
You know, if I didn't watch this game, Corn, you could tell me that P4 was a Hellstorm team kill and a Nade team kill from Buckeye CoD. And I would have believed you for a second. But no, I mean, what a game from Buckeye CoD. Just you asked for the SMGs to kind of deliver. You look towards, you know, after that Hacienda, how troublesome it was for those routes to be dominated and those SMGs to kind of flank constantly. But after that, you look at the search, the control, and now the hard point again. And they patched those issues immediately. And then it was like the shoes on the other foot. You had moments where Aspect and Cozy were hitting those routes, but then the second time around, Buckeye CoD, they reacted to it. They knew. They were watching for those plays. And it's the knowledge that comes out from Buckeye CoD thinking 3 steps ahead sometimes in these maps that just show the depth and the personality from this Buckeye CoD team to drive to be the best they can be in these regional playoffs.
3-1 for Buckeye CoD. Almost got to the rewind, search, and destroy. We almost got there. Would love to see it.
Me too.
But I mean, it was, if I'm honest, CSP didn't really look that great after map 1. Like, Bala had a great start, same with Jakers, and like each of them had like their own respective like good portions of some of the maps that went afterwards. But like in the last 2 respawns, they were kind of getting pooped on. And like, I hate to say it, but like it's kind of how it went. They couldn't catch a timing. The breaks that they were trying to commit to just felt a little sloppy. Didn't feel like maybe they were setting themselves up for success in the right ways. And I don't know if that Hellstorm was used beforehand. I could have swore he still had it on the back end there for what we were seeing inside of P2. It is beyond me how either in P1 or P2, regardless of where it was, either on a rotation or the setup when they needed to break back in, that it didn't get called in.
I'll tell you
immediately when I called it that first time, I was like, this is where it needs to be hit. And I'm going to toot my own little horny horn here, my corny horn. I was correct in that regard. Just saying. Point at me. You love me.
I do. No, I mean, you're right to say that they need that Hellstorm. The only issue is that CSP were the first ones to P1. And by the time they were broken, Aspect was the first one up at P1. He had to re-challenge that. You didn't have time to use your streak because you still had teammates back at old. You didn't want to team kill them. You didn't want to accidentally have a mistake like you did back in that Hacienda hardpoint. And then you go to P2. They were the first ones at P2. They get broken. Aspect is the last one off respawn. He spawned up last out of that lineup, and you just didn't have time to drop it towards the end there. And it's awful for Aspect, but you have to think ahead in those situations. You have to be planning around streaks like that, just putting yourself in an area where if everything fails, if you don't find that success, you have to be in a spot to utilize that streak. It's why you have it. It's a tool that needs to be used.
Yeah, I'm in a rare moment. I'm going to disagree with you because there was one spot, and I get coming last off respawn. You're not going to want to use that. You don't want a team kill, but it was the rotation from P2 or P1 to P2. The reason I'm upset is because you were down at that point by 50 points. They need 9 seconds to win. If they break through and they're able to slip through the cracks, then all of a sudden they're on that hard point, and there's really nothing you can do because you're coming off the deep spawns. If you're using it on the rotation between P1 and P2, even if your team is there first, you don't have to, use those first few right triggers to shoot those initial rockets down. All you have to do is just let it hang, let it drop down super slowly, and then after it's coming out of the air and then it drops on somebody, then it's boom, and there you go. See, and that's the biggest problem. It doesn't, you don't even get an attempt to use it to hold people back on the map. It's just a straight push to the hard point where you have to force a 2v3. I don't understand it. Make it make sense, Mr. Moore.
I think when it comes down and boils it, I think that CSP were having some positioning issues, especially in a lot of those hills. You even look back to the control, how messy the defenses were. Offense the second time around for CSP. You had solo chow after solo chow towards that A zone. Gimby was dropping nades on you. He was lining you up with his aims. He was doing everything he could to shut you down. And you just never truly saw that teamwork and coordination in maps 3 and maps 4 that you would have liked to. You called to see a cozy game. We never got a cozy game, especially on a protocol where the SMGs kind of need to be those superstars at time, especially for P4 the second time around. CSP fully had a chance to hold that P4. They never truly really turned up in those big ticket moments to close out those respawns. And I think that's just a testament really towards this Buckeye CoD team. I mean, they get mixy, man. They grind you out. And I think that this is a team that is something that a lot of people had their eyes on to upset rosters here in the regional playoffs, in the playoffs beyond that. And I'm excited to see them have a rematch versus Northwood. I want to see what this Buckeye CoD team has learned since their last matchup.
Yeah, I am as well. I'm quite excited for the winners finals and the continuation of every single region here within the side of the College CoD regional playoffs for this 2025 season. We got one more matchup here next. It's going to be the CSUN. Okay, I was correct on that. CSUN versus the winner of Texas State and Wichita State to see who will come out on top and get to the grand finals first in the Western region. But for the Midwest, for the Southeast, and the Northeast, still a lot of matches to be played. But if you want to be able to play at your best in Call of Duty, well, you have to play with the best. And that's right, that's Scuff, the exclusive controller partner of College CoD. We want to remind you, of course, that you can find Xbox options, PlayStation options, and of course the Scuff exclusive option, which has the 5 macro buttons on the bottom and those 2 buttons on the side. Once again, head to scuff.co/collegecod and dominate the competition with a brand new Valor Pro. Scuff, the exclusive controller partner of College CoD.